A very good day to all of you. Welcome to Reading Skills 2. In the previous module, we looked into the skill of skimming. But in this module, we will look into the reading skill of scanning. As mentioned in the previous module, to be a good reader, to perform better in a reading comprehension test, to understand better a reading article, there are some skills that we can master to be able to do so. And two things that we can master is the skills of skimming and scanning. So skimming, as been mentioned in the previous module, is the skill to go through the article or the passage as quick as possible just to get the main idea of what the passage is all about. So in doing so, you go through the paragraphs, read a few words in each paragraph, read the thesis statement, read the topic sentences in each paragraph in the body paragraph, and try to guess the main idea, what the passage or the article is all about. So that is skimming. Scamming would be reading in details, as opposed to skimming, reading quickly just to get a brief idea of what the passage is all about. Skimming is just the opposite of that. So to be a good reader, here are the two skills that we need to master. Talking about a reading comprehension test, for example, in your examination, in a final examination, in a class test, for example, whenever we have a reading comprehension test, to perform better in those kind of tests, what you need to do is you have to skim and scan so that you can digest the article better, and by digesting the article better, you can answer the questions better. What you can do is, first, when you get a reading question, first you skim the passage, and by skimming you cannot do it more than 1 or 2 minutes. Skimming is very quick because when we're talking about reading tests, we don't have much time. So do it quickly, skim for 1 or 2 minutes, get the main idea, and then you read the questions given, all of the questions, and understand what each question wants, and then you go back to the passage. Now you scan. So first skim, read the questions, and then you scan in details, find the answers to each question, and then you answer the question. So that is the steps that you can follow to be able to do a reading comprehension test well. Let us take a look at the next slide. So scanning. Scanning is more or less sweeping your eyes like a radar over part of text to find specific pieces of information. So unlike skimming, you go through quickly, just read a few words in each paragraph, read a topic sentence thesis statement, but when you are scanning, you are searching for the details. So you are going through words in the paragraph, looking for specific pieces of information. So what kind of specific pieces of information? The information that is needed to answer the question. So that means you cannot just you cannot just do scanning after skimming. You will have to skim, you'll have to read the questions, and then you scan for the answers. So that is the step. First skim, go through the passage quickly, and then go through the questions, understand what the questions want, and then you go back to the passage, you scan for the details so that you can answer those questions, each question in the reading test. So that is the 3 steps that you have to follow to be a good reader and to understand the passage better and to answer the questions well. So that is scanning. You sweep your eyes like a radar over part of a text to find specific pieces of information. For example, when you have a question like what is the main idea of paragraph 3 of the passage? So you go through the paragraph and find the main idea of that paragraph by going through the sentences in the paragraph and get the idea of what it is about. And we'll look a few more examples later in the sample given. So when to use it? To quickly locate specific information from a large quantity of written material. When we are talking about a reading test, we have limited time to answer all questions. So we cannot read every single word and understand every single word in a passage. What more if you have a long passage? Normally in a reading test, in a tertiary level, in a university level, you'll have minimum 2 pages of a reading text, so you cannot read and understand every single word. And when you talk about 2 pages, those would be thousands of words. So what you can do is, based on the question, you quickly locate specific information from a large quantity of written material. Not just reading tests, even a novel, for example, you don't have, let's say you want to find something in a novel, specific information, so you don't read everything in a novel because there'll be a lot of things to be read. So you just skim and scan things that is needed. Like you are finding a meaning of a word in the dictionary, you don't go from the first page to the last page. You just go to the page that you think you have the answer or the meaning to the word. So that is skimming and scanning. Yeah. So how to scan? After gaining an overview and skimming, identify the sections of the text that you probably need to read. For example, if the question asks you in paragraph 4, what is meant by this or that word? So that means to scan, you directly go to paragraph 4 and find the meaning of that word in a specific sentence, for example. So that is scanning. You go specifically to where you can find the answer. And while you are skimming, for example, you have the idea that in the first half of the passage and in the second half of the passage, it talks about something. So when you have a question that you think the answer could be from the second half of the passage, then you quickly go to the second half of the passage. You don't go again from the first paragraph. So that is scanning. You make it quick. You save your time. And start scanning the text by allowing your eyes or finger to move quickly over a page. So if skimming is very quick, you have to do scanning as quick as possible as well to locate your answers. It is not a leisure reading. It is not like reading a novel where you have all the time that you can have to read every single word. But skimming and scanning, you want to be quick. You want to save time, especially when you're taking a reading test. So as soon as your eye catches an important word or phrase, stop reading. So let's say when you are reading the question in the reading test, you have a certain keyword about something, and then when you find the keyword in that reading text, reading passage, so the answer to that question would be somewhere around that keyword. So as soon as your eye catches an important word or phrase, stop reading. When you locate information requiring attention, you then slow down to read the relevant section more thoroughly. When you think the answer is somewhere there, the answer to the question, you read the question and you think the answer is somewhere there in the passage, so you slow down a bit and give a full attention to that area of reading. Scanning and skimming are no substitutes for thorough reading and should only be used to locate material quickly. So as I mentioned just now, it is not like reading a novel. It is something you do because you want to make it quick. So if you take a look at this sample, the same sample that we look at in the first module, in the previous module. For example, if we, let's say, um, let's say there is a question. There is a question about the girl, the background of the girl. For example, the question asks you, what happened to the family of the Afghan girl? So if you still can remember, this article talks about the Afghan refugee girl that captured the attention of the world because of her photo of her, her beautiful eyes. But after that photo is being published worldwide, no one knows who that girl was. So people have been searching for her many years. So let's say you have a question in paragraph 3, what happened to the girl's family? So you don't go from the first word to the last word. You quickly go to paragraph 3 and you quickly read. Let's say the keyword is family, for example, in the question. So you go through quickly and find the word family or any related word to the word family. So you go through quickly, that is scanning. And then from her teacher, the journalist learned that the girl had lost both her parents. So parents could be family. So that means your answer should be somewhere here. So that is scanning. It is very quick. Instead of going through the article from the first paragraph to the last one. So that is scanning. You just jump to the answer. Yeah. And she had trekked through tortuous mountain terrain with her grandmother, two sisters and a brother into Pakistan. So those would be the answer, because although you have the keyword family in the question, but you have parents, grandmother, two sisters. So when you scan quickly, you slow down here where you have the possible answers. Parents, grandmother. So that is scanning. You detect the answer as soon as possible. Yeah, so that is scanning. So remember, when we talk about how to be able to be a good reader and how to perform better in a reading test, remember that first skim and then read the questions, find the keywords, try to understand what the questions want, and then you go back to the passage, you scan for the answers, and then you answer the question. So skim, read questions, and scan. Skimming, read questions, and scanning, and then answer the questions and go through the answers once again before you submit your reading test. All right, thank you very much. That's all for today. So please remember to skim and to scan whenever you're doing a reading comprehension test, whenever you want to read quickly and to understand things better. Thank you. See you next module.